Welcome to another edition of Stories of the Dark. I am your host, Glen Clark, and in this edition, we are going to be talking about the Queen Mary, which is located in Long Beach, California, for those who may not be aware. And the history of that ship goes way back almost long before I was even born. But anyway, let's start off with a little facts that I found online from thegravetalks.com. Goes like this: Haunted Queen Mary and its ghosts. The haunted Queen Mary is one of the last remaining ocean liners of a time gone by. The Queen Mary still holds the grandeur of a bygone era, as well as some of the passengers of that time. Many stories have been told over the last 40 years of the haunted Queen Mary and its storied past. What do these souls seek from the living? It is this question that we try to answer as we talk with Commodore Everett Horde of the Queen Mary. And this looks like it was an interview of one of the workers on that ship, but nonetheless I can read parts of it for you. It says, ghost stories or legends. With a ship so old, it's easy to understand how rumors can become legends over time. However, one cannot deny the paranormal activity and hard evidence that has been collected on board the haunted Queen Mary over years. Sounds of men screaming in pain, faint noises of grand parties in an empty ballroom, children splashing and playing in a pool emptied of water long, long ago. What is the source of such paranormal activity? Let's see. And I'm trying to scroll with my laptop here that my producer has been so nice to let me use. It says, are the ghosts of the haunted Queen Mary happy? One may feel the need to help a ghost or spirit cross over. However, what if a spirit is already crossed over to the place they want to be? What if that place is on board a ship that they loved in life? What if they are already at home and we are the ones invading their space? We may call it the haunted Queen Mary. They may simply call it their eternal home. Countless investigations have been conducted on board this historic ship, many producing compelling evidence for life beyond the grave. Lives that continue to be lived on board one of the most treasured ocean liners of all time. And then continues down. See, that was the end of that one. So the next one I want to read for you comes from ArcadiaPublishing.com. It's a little brief story on the Queen Mary. So it goes like, it reads, if you love a good ghost story, you'll be delighted, and admittedly a little spooked. When you delve into the storied history of the RMS Queen Mary, a retired ocean liner that sailed the North Atlantic from 1936 to 1967. The ship became famous for ferrying troops that helped defeat Hitler during World War II, and it emerged as the choice ocean liner of the rich and famous in the post-war 20th century. It earned the nickname the stateliest ship afloat during this period, partially because of its palatal Art Deco interiors. For many ghost hunters, it's the place that inspires spirits to stick around on this corporeal plane. From its military past, it was converted into a military vessel during the Second World War and was painted gray, earning it the nickname the Gray Ghost. To its posh, poor-war amenities, this iconic ship leaves plenty of opportunity for those who want to connect with the departed. The Queen Mary, officially retired in December of 1967, now sits permanently moored in the port of Long Beach, California. This haunted legend is an essential site for lovers of haunted America and the American maritime history. The White Lady. In present day, the Queen Mary functions as a tourist attraction and a hotel. Visitors are especially intrigued by one woman who checked in but never checked out. Guests and workers alike have reported sightings of the White Lady, a woman floating at the end of the first-class lounge called the Queen's Salon, dressed in a ghostly white evening gown. For more than half a century, whether you believe it or not is up to you, but there is some photographic evidence for the curious, and it does show a picture of little Jackie that is reported to haunt the one of the pool rooms of that ship. And there is a little short story on her. It goes, perhaps it is little Jackie's tragic history that inspired her to stick around the haunted vessel. But as we may never know, Jacqueline Torrin was 5 or 6 when she drowned in the ship's second-class pool, which is now the Royal Theater. Visitors report hearing little Jackie splashing, calling for her parents, and even responding to questions when prompted. Some visitors believe that Jackie has a friend, Sarah, who drowned in the same pool in 1949. And then there's another little story here, John Henry. Just like little Jackie, John Henry has a sad story of his own that has inspired ghost hunters to try to connect with his spirit. Henry worked in the boiler room, and it was here that his remains were found. Ghost hunters report seeing Henry's shadowy figure lurking between the boiler room and the green room. Some even claim to have spoken with Henry, who sometimes audibly responds to questions about beer. Very interesting. He must have been a drinker. And this next little story here, a supposed ghost that haunts the Queen Mary, is called Grumpy. Grumpy is arguably one of the Queen Mary's most memorable ghosts, also known as Grumpy the Growling Ghost. This spirit, whose actual identity is not known, is especially memorable because he tends to growl at visitors. Grumpy is said to lurk in a room under the stairs near the first-class swimming pool, and sometimes he joins John Henry in the boiler room. You can hear audio recordings of Grumpy growling, and it does have a little area where you can click on it if you want to listen to those. And I'll also include these links in my in the bottom area where you can click on all this and read it for yourself. And the next ghost that is supposed to haunt the Queen Mary is called Captain Treasure Jones. Captain Treasure Jones was the last captain of the active Queen Mary, sailing the ship from 1965 to 1967, and captaining her final voyage from Southampton to Long Beach. This earned him some credit in the maritime community, transforming him into a media figure following the vessel's retirement. He died at age 87 in 1993. Jones was well known on the ship for his affinity for cigars and visitors sometimes still report smelling cigar smoke in the captain's corners. And I think right now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take a quick break, play a little music, and then we'll come back. I'll read some more, and then I've also got a YouTube video that I'm going to play. It's from the psychic medium Peter James. He was aboard that ship. I believe the video was taken in 2003. It's about 15 minutes long, and it talks. He tries to connect with the spirits on board. But right now we're going to take a little break for some music. I'll come back and continue with the story. This is Stories of the Dark, and I am your host, Glen Clark. Welcome back to Stories of the Dark. I am Glen Clark, and we're talking about the ghosts of the Queen Mary. And I think right now what I'm going to do is go ahead and we're going to start that video so that I was talking about, so you can hear that. And excuse me for the little noises. I'm still trying to get all set up here with everything. So anyway, this video runs about 15 minutes, 15 minutes and 37 seconds to be exact. The video is entitled Peter James Ghost Tour aboard the RMS Queen Mary. Peter James, if you're not familiar with him, is a well-known psychic and medium. He's been on several of the different late-night talk shows that I remember, we all know and probably love. But anyway, without any further ado, let's get to the video, and then I'll come back and read a couple of more stories. And as always, if you'd like to comment on my video, please, comment. Whatever you want to say is fine, just no bad language. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'll have the links for those on the bottom of the video, so you can check those out. So anyway, I'll come back after this video is over and read a couple of stories. So here we go.
So for those of you that purchased my video and watched the footage on Jackie, there's no way that a child or anyone else for that matter could enter the pool without security, let alone a child. I've been accused of being a ventriloquist or being a child along with me that talks like Jackie does. Anyhow, you take all the pictures you want now, flash pictures, and I'm not post pictures out already. Or take my picture. But anyhow, cameras, whatever, you have to have free roll. We're just waiting for Mike, our security guard. So how many are ghost researchers? I know you are. Anybody else? I know you are. Anybody else?
Interested.
Okay. I'm steroid dependent, which means I have to take cortisone every day to breathe. And unfortunately, it put about 30 pounds on me in the past year. But I'm breathing, so I deal with it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm having second thoughts going back there. I don't know.
Flashlight.
Hello?
Yeah.
Come on in. Don't be afraid. Go ahead, walk back.
Are we recording?
Yep.
I'm walking over here.
Jackie! Be careful at the other end there. There's no way out there, so be careful. Captain Jones? Jackie! Hello? Appointment. Shh. Watch your footing. Come on in, watch your footing. Watch your footing. Now, to my right, in front of you, behind you, that was the old morgue. Right there. You guys want to walk in, be brave, do so. That was the morgue. Watch your footing. Watch your footing, folks. Hello? Come through. Hello? You hear it? You hear this? Yes. You hear it?
Yeah. Listen.
Yeah, you sing a little. Give me a sign that you're here, Captain. Hello. You hear it? You? Hello? Give me a sign that you're here, Captain, now. Now, the reason why, for those of you that want some pointers on my methodology and my technique, why do I speak so aggressively, so authoritatively, is because if I stood here and said, speak to me, Captain, right? You're not going to hear it, you're not going to respond. We have to take charge. We have to keep repeating Talk to me, speak to me, come through, make your presence known until it jars them into a certain amount of awareness so they will respond. Make sense?
Yeah.
It's like if you talk to somebody, say, "Hi, my name's Peter." Right? But hi, my name's Peter. Right? You're going to get a good response. Do it again, please. Hello? Listen, say hello. Listen. Say hello, Captain.
Oh my God.
You hear me? Hello.
Oh my God.
See? Don't be frightened. Listen. Listen. If you see, the secret to ghost investigations is you have to be patient. You have to be quiet and spend some time. Listen. Just be quiet. Listen. What's this?
Yeah.
Now, we're 50 feet underwater, and you can't get in here because you have a key, right? We came down several decks. There's no one on the other side of the wall except water that's going to talk to us. Now, I'm really feeling right back here, it got awfully cold all of a sudden. Whoa! Is that you, Captain? Captain Jones, Captain Gregory. Hello. You here?
Yeah.
Isn't this exciting? I mean, I know it's frightening for most of you, but for me, we're making contact with the realities of other dimensions. Isn't that? Think about it. Now, I want someone else to say, "Talk to me, Captain Jones." Who wants to volunteer? Jeremy, Captain Gregory, talk to me. Captain Jones, talk to me one more time, please. Talk to me. On my video, I channeled, which I rarely do, but I did it with a great deal of spontaneity. I just sat in the cargo hold where we were unable to go to this evening because of the other tour that's there. And I allowed him to speak through me, where he temporarily housed my vehicle, used my vocal cords. On the video, you'll hear this surreal, low, guttural sound, which I could never make. And it's Captain Jones talking through me.
How did he die?
I don't know. There was Captain Stark, who died from drinking carbon tetrachloride. He thought it was gin, drank that instead. There was another captain, I forgot his name, but 3 or 4 captains died on the ship. Penny, Dana, the kids that were strangled to death for some reason like to play down here. I don't know why. I mean, it's dark, there's nothing here, but they like to play. This is their home. Anybody have any questions? Hello?
Oh my gosh. I heard that one.
Hear it?
That's so crazy.
It's not crazy. This is real.
I know, like, oh my god, I'm listening to him now.
This is real stuff. This is real stuff. I want you people to pass the word along to your friends to come on my tour with me.
But how often do you come down here?
Every first and last Friday of the month. Go to queenmary.com for my itinerary, my schedule, get all my dates. queenmary.com.
How about coming down here to the bottom floor or level of the ship where we're at right now? How often do you come down here?
Every tour usually.
Oh, so this is part of the tour?
No, it's not. No, this is my extended tour with just a special group of people. Usually, I don't take more than 6, maybe 10, but I thought, well, we'll take all of you. Anyhow, we're going to leave now soon. Anybody have any questions?
Can we stay?
Yeah. Anybody else want to talk to Captain Joe? Say hi.
Is there any way it could be due to
Morse
the
code or
water
something?
outside or since echoes?
I've asked all the engineers, all the security guards, and this is my... I'm spending the night on the ship. And I got a great big bed all by myself. Covers over me like you wouldn't believe tonight.
If you say goodbye, will you say goodbye?
Pardon me?
If you said goodbye, will you say goodbye? Just like you said.
Me now?
Like if we're leaving.
Yeah, I would say goodnight. I always show them respect, like any other person. Always give them respect.
But do you think he would answer you back? Good night.
Sure.
Did they tell you their names? Or did
Yes, they tell me their name. Seemingly, they gravitate toward me. They come to me. They approach me. I think it's because of my willingness to communicate with them or something to that effect.
So they're pretty much if they had to find the trust in you.
Yes.
That sort of.
Yeah, you have to build a rapport like other people. Remember, so in life, so in death.
Okay.
If you need a stranger, Captain Jones, I'm going to say good night. Can you talk to me one more time, please? Hello?
Oh my gosh. Did you do that? He said goodnight.
Okay, folks? Back upstairs. Listen.
That's
What your leader's saying. Is it David? You sure? Because if it does not, give me the shirt.
Yeah, you said you might take a step back from it a little bit.
I don't know, but I have a contract for a year here till December.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So, but I'm here, remember, it's just twice a month, so in the little interim places I'll do other things.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Just catch your breath. It's terrible to have asthma. It really is bad to have asthma.
My cousin has asthma really bad. She's got a breathing.
Well, I guess that ends it.
Thank you.
And that was Peter James with his little thing he did aboard the Queen Mary back in January of 2003, and credit to Beyond Paranormal Investigations for having that video on YouTube. It was footage from one of psychic Peter James' ghost tours on the Queen Mary taken in January 2003. So once again, credit to Beyond Paranormal Investigations for having that video on YouTube, and you can also, if you'd like, go and subscribe to their material. I'm sure they would appreciate it. So right now we're gonna take a little break here in just a second, and I'll come back and read you some more stories, and we'll go ahead and wrap up the program. So this is Stories of the Dark, and I am your host, Glen Clark. And here we go.
Let headsets work with your phone when it's locked.
Okay, I don't know why that my phone, my speaker decided it wanted to speak to me. Alright, so here's a little music. I'll be right back. This is Stories of the Dark, and I am Glen Clark. Welcome back to Stories of the Dark. I am Glen Clark, and we are talking about the hauntings aboard the Queen Mary. And I have a couple of more just little short stories for you, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up the program. Let's see, it starts again, we're using the website arcadiapublishing.com for this one. So it goes, there were 49 reported deaths on the Queen Mary during its time in service, one of which was that of John Pedler, otherwise known as Half-Hatch Harry. The infamous Door 13 in the shaft alley crushed the 18-year-old crewman to death while he was playing chicken with another crew member. Pedler is known to leave behind greasy handprints in areas where he roams. It remains one of the ship's most popular attractions for ghost hunters. I did see once on a documentary where that area was pretty well focused on, and they did play some pretty compelling evidence of that. I wish I remember what it was. I'll try to look that up and update you on a future broadcast. Anyway, the last reported haunting aboard that ship, according to this website, is a woman by the name of Dana. Easily the creepiest of the Queen Mary's onboard deaths, legend has it that someone murdered a young woman named Dana and her family in room B474. The killer strangled Dana's little sister and mother on the bed, and then shot Dana to death in the bathroom. Dana's spirit can be found lurking with other ghostly children in the second-class pool, and sometimes joins Grumpy and John Henry in the boiler room. And then it closes out here with, it says, want to learn more about this haunted American landmark? Make sure to pick up a copy of Ghost of the Queen Mary from Arcadia Publishing to learn more chilling tales of this infamous ship. Well, in closing, I know that the Queen Mary does do a nightly paranormal tour, and one of these days I would like to be part of that. So, just so I could be able to do a full podcast on how everything goes, and also if my producer BlakCircleGirl and I have been making plans that we do want to do that. We just don't know when, but when we do, maybe I may even try to sneak in a few recordings and then use it on a future broadcast. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close this edition of Stories of the Dark. Make sure that you comment on my video, give me a like. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And in our next edition, I'm going to be doing EVPs. So if you do have any that you want to share with me, send them to my email, which is storiesofthedark1@gmail.com. That's storiesofthedark1@gmail.com, and as usual, I'll have a link for that at the bottom of this video as well. Anyway, I'll close out the program. This has been Stories of the Dark. I am your host, Glen Clark, and we'll see you in our next edition.